Oh, sorry, I didn't see you guys there. Don't mind me. Just a little guitar work going on here. No, but all jokes aside, what's up, everybody? Today we are going to go over a pretty simple song. It's beginnerable. Yeah, I think it's a beginnerable song. So we're going to basically be using 3 chords here. They like to say that all you need for a good song is 3 chords and the truth. So we're going to go over 3 of the cowboy chords or open chords. Sometimes people call them both. But these cowboy chords are basically the building blocks of learning how to play the guitar. So let's get down to it. So that song that I was just messing around with right there, that is Knockin' on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan. It was also covered by a couple of people like Bob Marley and Guns N' Roses. Okay, so the 3 chords for that song, they include a G major, a D major, and a C major. So for the sake of this video, I'm just going to call them G, D, and C. We're just going to remember that they're major. Alright? So, to play the G chord, what you're going to have to do is, first thing is we're going to use our 4th finger on the 3rd fret of that high E string. Then we're going to use our 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Then we're going to place our 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of that number 6 string. Then we're going to take our 1st finger, we're going to place our 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th string. So this is what the fingering is going to look like, and I'll try to get it closer for you. So you're also going to want to look at some guides online because you will see tons of chord charts out there. So don't think that you have to remember it just because I'm saying it. There's a ton of resources out there. Just print out some chord charts and paint them on your wall. Well, don't paint them on your wall, but tape them up to your wall. Okay, so that's our G chord. So when you hear it after you strum, you want all the strings to ring out freely. If any of the strings sound a little like dead, that means that you're not fretting it properly. Sometimes you might have to put a little more angle in your arm so that they can ring freely. So that's what I'm doing with the left hand. The right hand, I'm not playing with a pick today. A lot of acoustic guitar music, it sounds good when you just play with your fingers. You can play with the pick, that'll help you get some more volume. But for this video, I'm gonna just be using my hand just all by itself. Alright, now when we're strumming, I'm just using my thumb and I'm just letting it kind of like just rake gently across the strings. We don't want to pull down and you start hearing your strings rattle. Sometimes I do that, I play too hard and you get that buzz. You don't want that. You just want to go light. Okay, so that's our G. The next chord in the song is a D. Now with your D, you're not going to strum all the strings like we just did for the prior chord. But let's get down to the fingering of that D chord first. What I like to do is I like to start off with my 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, then my 2nd finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, then my 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. Now when you strum, you only want to strum from strings 4 through 1. So it's only 4 strings you're strumming right there. So that 1st string, if you notice, it's not being fretted by one of your fingers. That is an open string. That string just so happens to be the D string. So since that D is the first thing that you're hearing in the chord, it's kind of like the base of the chord. It's also known as the root. So that's what makes this a D major chord. Okay? So you already learned 2/3 of the chords that you need for Bob Dylan's Knockin' on Heaven's Door. Isn't that amazing? So let's get down to the last chord. I like this last chord. I think it's probably my favorite chord, or maybe even the first chord I learned, and that would be a C. So we're going to shift our fingers over into this next position. So now with our C chord, let's go ahead and start with our 3rd finger. we'll use our third finger and we're going to fret it on the third fret of the fifth string. Then we're going to take our second finger and it's going to go on the second fret of the fourth string. Then we're going to take our first finger and it's going to go on the first fret of the second string. Now, this C chord, we're only going to be playing 5 out of 6 strings. So this top string, this number 6, we do not want to hear that string in this mix. No, sir. No, sirree, Bob. Okay, so what we're going to do is I like to kind of hook my thumb around the top of the guitar just to kind of lightly, just let my thumb kind of just rest up against that 6th string so it won't ring. You can also use your third finger to kind of nudge just up against that 6th string also. So that will kind of help keep that number 6 quiet. Alright? And now with our third finger being on that 5th string at the 3rd fret, that's actually the note C. And that is the root in this chord. So that's what makes this chord a C chord. So we're going to play those 5 strings. Okay? Alright, so you learned all 3 chords for Knocking on Heaven's Door. So now we're going to put everything together. Now it does help if you already know the song that you're trying to play. So that way you don't have to try and think about how many times you're going to strum and that sort of thing. You kind of feel the song from memory. So that's how I've learned most of the songs that I started fooling around with on the guitar. There were songs that I liked and I already knew them in my head. So again, it's G, D, C, G, D, C, G, D, C, G, D, C. So that was Knocking on Heaven's Door, guys. I hope that was helpful, and I hope that you guys get into the habit of just kind of learning these shapes nice and slowly. Take your time. You have to get in the habit of being able to move from one shape to the next, and that does take time. So what you got to keep in mind is pick up this thing at least once a day. Please, 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 I beg of you, do not just let it sit around and collect dust. Once a day, start off slow, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Ultimately, I would like for you to at least practice for 30 minutes every single day. Only 30 minutes. I mean, you're swiping right on your phone for more than 30 minutes a day. So pick up this thing. It'll be a lifelong friend, I promise you. Thanks for watching. Click subscribe, all right? And check back soon. Peace.